Ski. Every year, we would rent a cabin. As the autumn disappeared and the long Minnesota winter would start up, my wife and I would go and find a cabin. Not someplace fancy. There's cheaper ones if you look for them. And we found a place, and just through the random whims of we did the same place every year, it became tradition for us. So, that's where we went when she got out of the hospital. Her hair had mostly grown back by then. Her body weight had started to come back up, so she didn't look all skeletal. She didn't look weak. But when we brought her home, she said it didn't feel right. Everything smelled too much like the hospital. And the reason it smelled like the hospital is because I smelled like the hospital, and I only came home to wash things, and obviously the smell had moved on. It populated the house, infected it. So we reached an agreement and we went back to the lake. The lake is beautiful at this time of year, but with her, then, it was terrifying. Something about the close brush with death seemed to have made her absolutely impervious to fear. And every bit of fear that she had she just cast off, had settled in me. So she would walk out into the snow, into the ice, into the Minnesota weather, wearing almost nothing, as if it was summer for her, bones against the cold. I would rush out, I'd grab all of her clothes and I'd rush out and be like, what are you doing? Come on, you're gonna freeze to death. You can't be out here anymore. She said, no, I like it, I like them. I like the way the snow absorbs the sound. I like the way it feels as though I could completely disappear. Like I said, it's not what I wanted to hear from her. We'd already been through a lot. So the last thing you want to hear your wife say, out at the edge of a lake, looking out over endless nothing, is that she wants to disappear. And that just made me more nervous. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd see a light somewhere out across the lake, or I'd see a fucking deer moving out there, and I think it was her. And my panic response is to jump up and start running out the door to get her, to help her, to be there for her, because that's what I had been pushing myself to do for so many months. But this exhausted me, wore me out. And so I didn't actually notice that she left the house because I think I was asleep on the couch or something like that. And when I woke up, I thought it was another deer, but no, she was actually out there. Hundreds and hundreds of feet from the shore, way out on the lake. And I know it doesn't make sense because this is Minnesota and the ice was probably a mile thick, but we'd actually been there for some time. The winter was starting to leave, as eventually it always does. And in my mind, everything out there was nothing but slush. It was waiting to swallow her up, to eat her, after all that we had been through to get her back. I grabbed all of her clothes, her heavy boots, her heavy jacket, all of these things, and I bundled out the door as quick as I can, big heavy boots stomping on the snow, and then on the ice. And as I was walking across the ice, I could hear it cracking and breaking underneath me. I could hear I could feel it fracturing under the thin snow. And I was yelling to her, you can't be out here, you can't just fucking walk out here, this is dangerous, don't you know what you're... And I couldn't finish it because the ice gave way. I was only 15, 20 feet from her when it happened, but everything just shattered at once. Probably a good 30, 40 foot square. It just became little chunks of ice, like a broken mirror, and she just slid into the water. And I did too. All of the clothes I brought for her, the heavy boots, all of these things disappeared into the water as I flailed around. And I got back to the surface, and I tried to find her, and I could see her, and she wasn't that far away. And this is the part that always drove me nuts, was she wasn't far away, but every time I tried to move towards her to swim, all of these little things would get in my way. All of the little chunks of ice would pile up, and one by one I could get through them, but all together I couldn't push through them. And all I could do near the end was touch the ends of her hair as she sunk under the waves, and it's all because of the little fucking things that were in the way. So neighbors had seen me running out there had seen what had happened. And I guess they must have saved me, because I woke up in the hospital. It wasn't cancer, but I spent a good long time there. First because of the hypothermia, because of the frostbite, but then again because I wasn't handling it really well. And I stayed there for a while, and then I came out, and I went back, and I tried to get back into the groove of life, tried to move on, try to grow again. I found I had a weird tick, a strange obsession. You know when you're going through the crowds like at a mall, and there's all these people, and just because it's kind of driver's instinct, all the people going this way stay on one side, and all the people going the other way move to this side, but I couldn't do it. What I would do is I would go into the oncoming traffic, and rather than kind of moving around people and dodging, what I'd do is I'd square my shoulders, and I'd just walk into them. Because the world is full of little fucking things getting in your way, and I found I couldn't stand it anymore. All of these things just, everything was there, so I'd walk through the crowds, shoulders out, chest out, not because I was trying to get a fight, and I certainly did, but because I wanted things to move. They're supposed to move when you go through them. That's why you're big and they're small. And I found myself doing this at crazy times. I'd go to the beach, and I'd do that with the sand. I'd just push my hands to the sand and back. All I do is move it away, because it's little things. I'd go to the kids' place at the fucking McDonald's, and I'd sit in the ball pit, and I'd just move them aside. And you know, it's actually pretty tough if you've got enough of them going against you. They'd hold you back, the weight of them. So I got myself the cabin again this last year. Figured maybe it would help, but I don't think it was actually going to help. It was there. It wasn't quite winter. I couldn't push against things. I couldn't break through the ice. I couldn't find a way to prove myself, to push myself against this. So what I did was I got a cement truck. I built myself a box. And I stood inside the box, and I pulled on the cord, and the cement started coming down. And what I could do is I could pull my feet up. I could lift them with the heavy cement gripping onto my legs, and this was what I wanted. It fought back. It was heavy. It wanted to take me like the lake had wanted, like the ice had wanted. It was a worthy opponent. And as it filled up the little box, I could strain against it. I could lift my legs. I could feel the burn. And it felt like I could make progress. This was something I could defeat. And as it got higher and higher, I would move my entire body, straining against this, pulling against it, saying, it doesn't matter, because in the end, I will pull through. And at some point, it got too high. I didn't realize I was still holding on to the cord, and I had to stop. When all I can do is hold my head up above the cement. I couldn't lift my legs anymore, and I couldn't really move my arms very far. But the cement doesn't harden in this form really fast. And so, even in this coffin I had made for myself, with my head just above the surface, I was still reaching inside of that cement, reaching out for her, trying to grab. Some time went by. I remember the lights coming through the slats of the shed where I had done this. Sunlight, and dark. I think it rained for a little while. I think somewhere in there, I realized I wasn't going to make it. That this was going to win. That really made me mad. So I started fighting against it again. Inside of the shop, inside of the cement coffin I had made for myself, I started reaching against, trying to push. And I heard somebody outside saying, "Hey, are you in there? It's been a while, are you okay?" And I think I managed to shout back something like, "Go away, I'm almost there, I'm almost there. I think I can almost touch her. I have the ends of her hair. Just give me a few more minutes." And I heard sirens, and I heard people with axes chopping at the edge of this thing. I felt all of my success starting to drain away, leaving me with a skin of cement. But in the last few seconds before the firemen pulled me out of there, I swear I felt her hair.